Hey y'all, it's Kimbu, and I am now going to talk about personal projects management method. This is going to be a short overview. I hope it's going to be short. We're going to find out. Can I keep this short? I don't know. We'll see. I wanted to introduce people to this idea because it might not seem like the typical productivity system, project management app that's out there. This has very little relation to the types of apps such as Asana or Monday or even a Microsoft project, which many people have not heard of unless you've actually been doing project management as your job in some field. Personal projects management actually was born out of conversations I had with fellow solopreneurs and freelancers and creatives. And when I say conversations, I mean complaints. Like we were all complaining because we have tried over and over again to find a system, a way that is easy to maintain, flexible, allows us to keep on top of all the things that we're trying to accomplish. And it also allows for, I would say, the flexibility of incorporating our personal lives and our personal goals into the system. There are a lot of productivity solutions out there. And I think one of the things that trips a lot of people up who are solopreneurs or small business owners is that we think that there's going to be one perfect way to do the system. That we buy the perfect paper planner, or we buy, a subscription to Asana or Trello or Notion or name your poison, OneNote, Evernote, list is endless, that using that exclusively will be the solution to all of our problems. And it never is. It never is. Okay, maybe not never, but I'm assuming if you're watching this video, it hasn't worked for you. And you're still looking for a way to try to consolidate everything together that you need to work on, that you need to do. And that may be your business, and it may be your education, it may be your family. If you are a part time online course creator and a full time homemaker, then those are your two main projects, really, or at least two of the most important projects that you've got going on. So I like to call them enterprises. They're above project level. They're not a thing that stops and starts. They are part of what creates and defines your life completely. How do you incorporate every single way of managing all those different enterprises that you're trying to juggle? A group of us got together and kind of did a book club. This was during the pandemic, so our book club was a Zoom book club, right? Because everything was Zoom during the pandemic. And we were reading Charlie Gilkey's Start Finishing. It's really good. I highly recommend it, especially as an introduction to project management that's not written for project managers. Like, it is a good layperson's guide to what project management entails. But we all got about halfway, 2/3 through the book and just stalled. And we stalled because there were so many moving parts to that system, which is true for any project management system, really. There's going to be a lot of moving parts. But the problem was that we were spending so much time, or at least we felt like we were spending so much time trying to fill out all the parts and pieces of the system that we were actually falling behind on the things that we needed to do. This led to a lot of conversations with friends about that phenomenon of filling out planners, project management systems, apps, and spending so much time doing that that we are exhausted by the time we get to the point of trying to do what we need to do. My friend Gina Hogan Edwards, who is crucial in helping me develop the personal projects management method, really was frustrated because there was so much going on with her that she would be losing track of what things were happening and where they were going. And more importantly, she felt so overwhelmed by trying to keep on track of all of that that every method she used to try to reduce the overwhelm only increased the overwhelm. She had a beautiful spread of Trello boards, and Trello is a great Kanban system. If you're not familiar with Kanban, it's a type of productivity, project management, came out of Japan, I think, in the 50s. Didn't really become popular here in the United States, where I'm located, until mid 90s ish. Anyway, it's great. It really is good. And she really filled out a lot of boards and had everything going, but then she spent so much time updating them and keeping on top of them that she was just exhausted by the time she was trying to sit down and create an online course or an online membership group, which is a personal goal for her as part of her business plan. I realized pretty quickly that a large part of the problem was decision fatigue, because people were spending so much time creating their to-do list, their daily list, their weekly list, their monthly list, and then at the start, rebooting this week, doing another weekly planner, doing another monthly planner, doing a monthly spread. And by the time you get through doing all of that, you're exhausted. You're exhausted. I have some links for information about decision fatigue. It's really important for small business owners and solopreneurs and freelancers and creators to understand how that impacts your business, because it does. It will. If it hasn't already, it will. Trust me. I wanted to use my background in project management, also documentation writing for software, and in higher ed, I did a lot of procedural type of writing on how to do this and how to do that. A lot of what we call how-tos is documentation writing. My toolkits, my podcast creation toolkit and my online course creation toolkit, are both basically documentation specs of those processes. And I've simplified them. I've tried to make them as easy with checklists and stuff like that, but that's what they are. I just knew that there had to be an easier way. And I think we found it. This has been the culmination of a couple of months of really intense labor on my part, with Gina helping me. She was the first person who implemented the program, and she had a lot of feedback. She had some great suggestions. As a method, it has grown and changed. Like originally when I did it, it was, about 5 pages. Just do this, this, and this. Well, the problem is I think like a project manager, and I can break these things down easily. And I realized when I started getting into it that everything I was taking for granted I had to explain. I ended up writing what I call the Personal Projects Management Method Toolkit. It's a book. It's got some extras with it. As of the recording of this video, it's not out yet, but as soon as it's released, I'll update it in the show notes. It should be out sometime in mid-August 2022. So hopefully that's my project plan. Anyway, with the book. In it, I break down ways to not just quantify and create time plans. I instead try to help you figure out what you're doing. Do you know what you're doing? Chances are you may only have a general idea what you're doing. The way I do PPM is to start from the top down. Like, you decide what your enterprises are, which I call guideposts. For instance, being a parent is a guidepost. Having a business is a guidepost. Having multiple business means multiple guideposts. Usually. There are exceptions, and I'll have videos later on talking about all of that. Once you've determined all of that, then you can go down and you can figure out, I guess is the word I'm looking for, is the term I'm looking for, figure out what your programs and your projects are, and then put them on your calendars. That's such a simplified version of it. And in fact, Gina did it the opposite way. She figured out her calendar and then worked her way back up from that to look at what the programs and the projects were that she was working on. And then from those, she kind of like, yeah, okay, that fits the guidepost I thought I had. Oh, this turns out to be a different guidepost entirely. This needs to go here, this needs to go there. Which I think is one of the real primary strengths of personal projects management method, because it's customizable, it's flexible, it's fluid. You can take this and use it with the tools that you're already using. If you love Trello, if you love Asana or Monday, if you love your paper planner, you like doing the stickers and the washi tape and all of that, all power to you. Makes me nervous just to think about trying to do it. I use a bullet journal style notebook, but it's just a daily to-do list. That's all I do. And then I do it and I handwrite it because I love crossing things off. I love cross. I did that. I finished it. That's one of my big rewards, is doing that. But doing a daily to-do list handwritten is not how I was keeping on track and on top of all of my projects and my programs. So I figured out this system, I figured out this methodology, and I want to share it with everybody because I think it will really make a difference. I know you're always being told by small business coaches and solopreneur podcasts and all this and all that, track your time, track your projects, keep all your files organized, update your calendar, do this, do that. And that's all excellent advice. That's all excellent. Yes, you should be doing all of that. But if you do not have a big picture view, like a big picture view of what you are working on at any given time and where you are at within that big picture, then those tasks will either fall by the wayside because they're not of value to you, because you're just doing them to do them and you don't utilize the method or the system that you're using fully, which is what happened to me with a lot of them. As we were talking, the start finishing system, Asana. I've tried Microsoft projects. Personally, I mean, I used it professionally years ago, but I thought, well, let me give it a shot. No, that wasn't working for me either. And it says a lot that these don't work for me, a person who has worked as a project manager and a documentation writer and somebody who's really into and understands project method, project management as a system, as a theory, as a paradigm. They weren't working for me. So it really doesn't matter how you use the PPM method. What matters is that it works for you. It gives you what you need so that whatever tools you're using, whether you're living out of your OneNote app or your paper planners, that you will be able to have a grasp of what's going on, what you need to accomplish, and how it's all going to get done and all be interconnected together. And yes, that does include things like education. It does include things like parenthood or being a homemaker, because a lot of those project management systems were built for professional organizations that usually have large teams. And by large, I mean anything over 10 people. Technically not large. I think large is supposedly 50 people or more. But if you're a small business owner like me, I'm a solopreneur. I'm the whole shop. I don't even outsource video processing or anything like that. I hope to eventually, but I can't afford it right now. So it's all on me. A shop of 10 people sounds extravagant. I mean, it's just like, wow, 10 people to do what I tell them to? That's just wild. You know, that's just wild. What kind of idea is that? Those systems can't really handle the overlap of personal and professional and business and education and family life that is a part of our lives as solopreneurs. Yeah, we can't put those things aside. You have to get the product shipped, and you also have to do the laundry. Like that is just basic principles of living. And PPM allows for you to make room on your schedule in your life for these major enterprises that take up your time, and does so in a way that weights them equally, but also allows you to prioritize them according to your own personal system of values and also your own time, what you have flexible and what you have assigned to getting things done. So anyway, that's a really not very deep overview, more like a why rather than a what introduction to PPM. I'm going to be doing more videos about specific parts of PPM, and in fact, if you look on my YouTube channel, if you look through the videos here, you'll probably see a lot of them starting to pop up because I'm recording them out so that when I launch the actual toolkit, the actual book, people will be able to reference them here. So if you've heard about PPM and this is the first time you've ever heard of it, please check out my website. You'll see the little thing, task-mistress.com. Remember the dash. You don't want to be going to any other of those other places that have nothing to do with personal productivity. So go there and check it out. My other toolkits, whatever's available at the time. And I appreciate you stopping by. And hopefully this system will help you get your life, your business, your goals on track. Thanks, y'all.